Hi everybody! We are studying word order today and let me show you the basic formula. Now can you see this? Subject wa adjective or noun. This. Whenever you're using adjective or noun, this is a formula that you want to use. Okay, so let's make a sentence. For example, today is warm. Alright? Today is 今日. So you put down 今日 as a subject before wa, and what follows after the subject. Then you can put down adjective or noun. Now, if you have to say today is warm, warm is an adjective. So this is, and 暖かい is the word for warm. So now you put down here 今日は暖かいです. Now this is to say today is a warm. It's easy, right? Okay, let's try some other word. Now, how about if you have to say this is a book? Okay, this is a book. Now, this is, you may be familiar, これ. Alright, that becomes a subject. And then what follows again? And then the book, that is not adjective but noun, right? And then you want to place that 本, that is a book or books. So you can say like this, これは本です. That means this is a book. Okay, this works for plural as well. So this is a basic formula. Now, how about if you have to say, I am fine. Now, many of you may be already familiar if you have watched the earlier video. Now you want to start with 私. That is a I. And then what follows. And then you want to say 元気. Now 元気 is adjective. Okay, so you put that 元気 and then です. Now you just made a sentence. 私は元気です. Perfect! Very good. What if you want to use verbs instead of adjective? That's when you want to use this formula. Now, do you see that? It's a little bit different from the previous formula. You want to start with a subject, は follows, or sometimes が. Now, I will explain to you later. And object, or name of the places. And then you say お or に or で as a particles. Okay? Verbs follows. Verb is always at the end. Is that okay with you? So you want to keep in mind. In English, you always have the verbs right after the subject, like I go or I eat. But in Japanese, you want to put that verbs at the end of the sentence always, right? So now you want to make a sentence. Now, what kind of sentence shall we make? How about if you had to say, I eat teriyaki, okay? I eat teriyaki. Now, I is a subject, so you want to place that first. And then, teriyaki, that is an object, so you want to place that next. And then notice that wa follows in this case, 私は teriyaki. Teriyaki is an object, so you want to say o. And then finally, verbs come at the end. So to eat is 食べる. Now you want to change that to mass form. You want to say 食べます. Now let's read that together. 私は照り焼きを食べます. Excellent. Alright, let's make another sentence. Now how about if you have to say, I go to school. I go to school. Now you can still use the same subject, 私, because this is I. And then you want to say 学校. Now 学校 is the school, right? And if you're moving toward that direction, you want to use that ni as a particle. And then the verb will be iku, which is going to change to ikimasu. Now you are saying, I go to school. Let's read that together. 私は学校に行きます。Very good. Okay. Now, how about if you have to say, you speak Japanese. Let's say that. You speak Japanese. Now, in that case, the subject is you, so you want to start with あなた. Okay? And then you want to follow. You want to let that particle は to follow. And then say 日本語. Right? That's a Japanese language. Then you can say お, or in this case, you can even say で, because で uses, で is used for instrument, right? So you're using Japanese to speak. So you can say 日本語を or 日本語で. Okay? And then 話す is the verb because that means to speak. Now let's read that together. あなたは日本語を話します。あなたは日本語を話します。Very good. Okay, so now I want to show you how to use the interrogatives. Interrogative is, for example, 何? That is what? どこ is where. And どなた or 誰 is who. Alright? Now let's go back to the previous formula by using adjective and noun. And let's say, for example, this is a book. Alright? You made that sentence before. This is a book. And that is これは本です. Now you don't know what it is. This is what? You want to ask that question. What is this? That's what you want to ask. In this case, you don't know if it's a book or not. This is where you want to place the interrogative. Okay? And which one is appropriate among 何, どこ, どなた, 誰? Well, in English you say what. That is directly translated into 何. So you want to place 何. Okay? So you can say これは何ですか? You just said what is this? It's easy, right? これは何ですか? And then if you know what it is, for example, if it's a book, you can just say これは本です. Okay? But make sure to say か at the end when you're questioning. So これは何ですか is a question, and これは本です is the answer. Okay, so how about if you have to say I am fine, but you don't know who is fine. Alright? 私は元気です. Now you want to ask who is fine. In that case, who is a どなた or 誰, right? So this is going to be replacing 私 because if it's you or I, you don't know who is fine. So you say どなた or 誰 becomes the subject. But in this case, make sure to say が. Right? Whenever you have interrogative as a subject, you say が. So you say どなたが元気ですか? Now you're asking who is fine. どなたが元気ですか? Okay. Now let's move on to the verbs. You made a sentence. 私は照り焼きを食べます。Right? 私は照り焼きを食べます。Now you want to change that sentence to Do you eat teriyaki? Okay, let's make that sentence. Do you eat teriyaki? Now, what is going to be the subject? It's not going to be watashi because this means I. You want to change that to anata. Okay? Anata wa, and then teriyaki. Okay? Teriyaki o tabemasu ka? You just simply put the ka at the end. Anata wa teriyaki o tabemasu ka? So this means, do you eat teriyaki? Now let's say you don't know if it's teriyaki or not. You want to ask, what do you eat? What do you eat? So in that case, which interrogative are you going to use? Yes, you are right. You have to use the nani. And then nani is going to be replaced over teriyaki because you don't know if the person is going to eat teriyaki or not, right? So now you made a sentence. What do you eat? あなたは何を食べますか? あなたは何を食べますか? Okay, excellent. Now, let's see. Okay, this time, let's work on this. 私は学校に行きます. This means I go to school. You made this sentence, right? 私は学校に行きます. Now you want to change this sentence to where do you go? Alright? Instead of I go to school. Now, which portion do you have to change? That's right. I, 私, and 学校, school. Right? Which interrogative do you use? Exactly. It has to be どこ because this means where. Now you're going to replace 学校 with どこ and 私 with あなた. Now let's read it. あなたはどこに行きますか? Now this means where do you go? Exactly. Okay, let's read it again. あなたはどこに行きますか? Excellent. Okay. Now this time, let's change this sentence into who goes to school? Who goes to school? So in that case, you have to put back the 学校, the school, right? And then you want to say who goes to school? Now, which interrogative do you use? Yes, it's not gonna be 何 or どこ, but you have to use どなた or 誰 because this means who. And then where is it going? Exactly. You have to place it at the あなた. Instead of あなた, you want to put that どなた or 誰. And then what's gonna be the particle after that? Yes. If you put that interrogative as a subject, you have to always say が. Okay? So, now let's use this 誰 this time. 誰が学校に行きますか? 誰が学校に行きますか? It's simple, right? Very good. Okay, how about if you have to say, you speak Japanese. Okay, let's make that sentence again. あなたは日本語を話しますか? あなたは日本語を話しますか? That means, do you speak Japanese? And of course, I mentioned before, あなたは日本語で話しますか? That is also correct. Okay, now this time, you don't know who is speaking Japanese. Who speaks Japanese? Okay, in that case, you have to use the interrogative. And then who is どなた or 誰, right? So, あなた is going to be replaced by どなた. Alright? And then look at that. Interrogative is coming as a subject. So you want to change that to particle becomes ga. So this is how you say it. どなたが日本語を話しますか？どなたが日本語を話しますか？ That is to say, who speaks Japanese? Okay? And make sure to put that ka at the end, alright? Let's pronounce that again. どなたが日本語を話しますか？ Very good. Okay, so now you want to answer, I speak Japanese. Now in that case, you have to remove that どなた or 誰 and then you say 私. But since you are answering that question with a ga, you want to continue to use the ga when you're responding to the interrogative with ga question. So you want to say 私が日本語を話します. Okay, that's the answer. 私が日本語を話します. Okay, now you don't know if the person speaks Japanese or Italian or Spanish, French, Chinese, you don't know. So you want to ask, what do you speak? Now, how do you change that sentence? Well, you guessed it right. You have to put that nani instead of Nihongo because that's what you don't know what it is. So remove that Nihongo and then put nani. Okay? So now you are saying, oh, you have to change that subject to anata. Okay? Anata wa. Now don't say ga because ga comes after only the interrogative. Okay? Now you want to say, あなたは何を話しますか？あなたは何を話しますか？ You just said, what do you speak? What do you speak? So in that case, how do you answer? Well, if you are speaking Japanese, you can say あなたは don't say ga because there is no ga when the question was asked. You want to say あなたは Oh, okay. If you are answering the questions, what do you speak? You want to say I speak, right? So you change to 私, right? 私は日本語を話します. That's the answer. Excellent. You did a fine job. Right, very good.